Here's what we've got. And this is why I've been really preaching, hey, make sure you're marking these monthly levels on your chart and these weekly levels if you're trying to play the NQ in any meaningful way. This is our monthly chart here. And I put these levels out at the beginning of the month, and the people that have my indicator on their charts, they can just browse through them freely as they wish. But I put these out for my paid subscribers. If you don't have TOS and you don't want to commit to the indicator, you can be a subscriber and you can get these at the beginning of the month. So in August, the 1st of August, the first trading day, which I think will be the 3rd, I will put out the new monthly levels. And this is why they're important. Bull bear line. This is where we open the month right here. Bull bear line for the pivot. We can never get above it. And as you can see, we've got to be bearish until first target. Well, where's first target? That's from basically 30,515-ish to that 336, 29,336. So that's 1,200 points. Lower is where you have to look, especially when you're wanting to catch major levels in bigger plays. So right here, we get there, we get a nice bounce. That's probably a 700-point bounce, okay? We come back, we get the news candle, we still hold it. So we're getting these nice bounces off of that level. We had 3 really good bounces from this level that were all around 700 points higher, which is a huge move if you're trying to scalp the NQ or trade it on a swing basis. You use this for your bull bear line. So if I'm buying calls right here, then I just wait till I hit a target and then I get out. And on the weekly, there's probably a target there somewhere in that area. Let's look. And I don't have enough days going back. Hold on one second. Let's go back and look so we can get towards the beginning of the month. Let's see, that's June. Here's July. So when I look at this and we're catching those bounces from that 300 area up towards 700, that is when we're clearing this bull bear line and we're getting up here to the middle of the chart. And as you can see on the weekly, you can catch the intraday bounces with those levels as well, because they just respect these a ton. Because even when we break, we look at the next target, it breaks, and this is where it finds support on our overshoot. If you just go from level to level, you will do really well. But back to my monthly, because I think it's highly important. Once we finally broke this 29,336 that we've played all month for bounces, well, you have to start looking at the next target down here, unless we can reclaim. And remember, once we break, it's always resistance or support until proven otherwise. At this point, we break below it, so it's resistance, perfect resistance, perfect resistance. It doesn't get any cleaner. Next target, 28,179. Well, we get there in a hurry. We have a good bounce there, which we should. These levels are calculated based off of where interaction should take place. And if they hold, then we go higher. If they don't, then we go lower. And right now, you can see we got the good bounce from this 28,179 all the way up. That's a 600-700 point bounce. And then we continue to roll over. We broke it to the downside. We cannot reclaim 28,179. You can see we touched it last night. I watched it touch it perfect, and it will not get above it. Target 27,022. If we reclaim 179 and head higher. Now here's the thing, the month's about over. So with the month about over, there's no reason to do anything except either wait for a support or a target. Either way, just don't step out in front of that train. SMU is another one that we've watched all month, because we know it's highly important to what the NASDAQ's going to do, which is highly important to what the S&P is going to do. Once it broke below this bull bear line for the month, you can see it's been nothing but downtrend. Until it can reclaim targets, it's in trouble. And I put that out several times, and I hope everybody paid attention to that, that's trying to use the levels for swing basis or anything, because it's real trouble. NVIDIA having a hard day. Finally broke below the bull bear line, the pivot on the monthly, and it is having a bad day, down 2.5% Out of the semiconductors, though, that are major players in that space, it's definitely been the less beat down because, like you can see, it's trading just below its monthly pivot, where MU's monthly pivot is 1,082, and it's currently trading $800. So $300 lower for another major player in that space, where NVIDIA is just barely, percentage-wise especially, hasn't moved at all. Same thing for AMD. Its monthly pivot was 557. We're trading 441, 130 points lower. And look how beautiful that played. And these are just proxies to know what the NQ is going to do. Could not reclaim monthly pivot. Resistance 4 times. Comes all the way down to second target, goes back to pivot, and is resistance. We are oversold. Does that mean that we cannot continue to sell? Not at all. What that means is we're just oversold right now. I would look for a bounce at the 1st of August. I think the seasonality and the way that it plays, and we're down here in these targets, we're probably going to lay around down here. We do have some big earnings today and FOMC. Flip a coin on how they will react to that and what they will do. So be very aware of that and don't jump out in front of it. If you are trying to play this market, just know what times those are. They'll be after the close today for the earnings, and the FOMC is 1 o'clock my time, Central Time. So just know that and play accordingly. Apple still holding strong, up $2 today, trading above its R3 overshoot. I gave those statistics in my last video to let people know this is not the place to buy Apple. Just plain and simple, statistically for the month, we don't close up here, but about 4% of the time over a 15-year period. So keep that in mind. The Dow had been so strong the last few days. It was up 600 points one day. And as you can see, everything is rolling over. And the other big reference that I had in my prior video, just trying to keep people aware, was, hey, this VIX is holding the monthly pivot and it has green candles. We do not want to get in front of that. When we are having green candles and we are holding above the bull bear line. So that's bullish VIX, which means bearish indices. And as you can see, they are just selling this thing off, and they might waterfall it down and then catch its breath. And I would say that the August would be a time to look to just at least catch a bounce. And then I think that the midterm seasonality, and if you're not aware of that, please look it up, midterm S&P or in NASDAQ seasonality, to understand that this is kind of the weakest times of the market historically on midterm elections. This can be a very big problem coming into the end of July. And then I think August is a fairly decent bounce month, but then September and October tend to be rough, and that is just the seasonality over the history of the stock market in midterm election years. So it plays somewhat uniform, but you can't just hold your hat on just that. You got to watch these charts, understand these levels. Tesla's another one that's just been beat up pretty bad since earnings. I think the first day was down 60, then 15, then 8. Now we're down $2. Everything is sitting down here in the bottom of these and having issues trying to gain their footing. And I don't expect that to change too much into the end of the week. We might get through FOMC and get through earnings, these 2 big earnings that we have. And then eventually, maybe towards Friday, it could catch its breath and really bears take profit, get a little structure in the market. I don't know what's going to happen in Iran. It's kind of an every other day over there. So the levels are what matter, because as you can tell, all this news and ideas that I've rattled through, what has mattered the most? Well, that 29,336 mattered a ton because there was 4 bounces, and then until it didn't right here. Then it was like I said, once we break a level to the downside, they are resistance until proven otherwise. Once we broke this level, it has been nothing but resistance. That was a perfect test last night. I sit and watched it do it after the open. So keep that in mind. Mark these monthly levels on your chart. If you trade a different ticker, if you don't do NQ, I put out NQES, gold, silver, and oil at the beginning of every month. If you trade something different, let me know. Maybe you only trade the SPY, maybe you only trade the QQQ. I have no problem publishing that. I just don't want to publish a ton of different ideas unless somebody's actually using those. So I have a lot of NQ futures traders. I do have some gold that like to play with that. And then I always like to keep an eye on oil just because, of course, it is a big drag or help for the market depending on certain factors. But as you can see, when we were up here, I did my video and I said, hey, we don't normally close up here. We have the big gap down because we did the statistics that go on the top of your chart. And like I said, if you want this and you have TOS, Thinkorswim, and it's got to be the desktop version. So an iPhone or like a phone or a tablet does not work. You have to have either a laptop or a desktop, and you can download Thinkorswim and you can put these levels on your chart. You can populate it. You can look at the history. You can do anything you want. And they are just the best guides that I have ever used, period. And like I said, I've used a bunch of different stuff, and this just simplifies it so much. Hey, these major zones, when they break or hold, you pay attention. Like if I want to be bullish here after this break, I know I've got to get a reclaim of this level. Until it reclaims and shows me that that is support, there's no reason for me to do anything else. Same thing down here. Once this breaks, until it can reclaim 28,180, there's no reason for me to do much unless we get to this 27,022. Then you can be a buyer of that using that as your bull bear line because that is our first target. So if we get there, you buy it and you see if it holds. If not, you just get out. It's that simple, but you don't guess in between because you will get taken out to the woodshed. All right, I will leave that at where it's at. I will put out some screenshots and other things of just the interactions that these levels have produced this month. And I think that a lot of people get caught up in needing to trade every day. And I think 5 or 6 good trades a month are way more profitable than 150 maybes, could be's, possibilities, and getting chewed up on that. So let's guide it. Let's go through it. We'll stay together. And as always, we will talk soon.